And by the way, don't say. If I made the mistake like that in lesson, back we go. Also, that was only about half as fast as he'd want it before he would approve it. You'll see on your handout there was one that Roger asked me to repeat, and you can read the handout. It's that first story if you pick it up there. In brief, I studied with Mr. Falcone for only about 2.5 years before I got in the United States Navy Band, but there's not a day that his words don't echo to me when I play, and everything I hear Roger talking about is just all of a sudden all those lessons flood back. I think anybody who's ever studied with him or studied with any teacher, those kind of things come flooding back. The incident at Blue Lake was I was in the Navy band, relatively new, and I'd been asked to go back to Blue Lake Fine Arts Camp to perform with I was just getting at a fledgling jazz thing, and they wanted me to play with the Blue Lake Monster, which is their name of their big band. And so Bruce Early, I think, was the piano. So I did an afternoon session concert with jazz, and it was, went over time. There's a lot of loud playing and high playing and things. And I said, well, okay, I can at least get over to the other side of the camp because I was going to do a low brass clinic for about 50 to 80 students. It's okay, I can relax. And I took a golf cart through the dusty roads. And what I didn't know that waiting when I got there was not only the group of students, but Mr. Falcone sitting there. He's quite old at that time. And at that time, I think he'd lost height. I think, why do we lose height as we get older? But I think he was that tall. But and he's sitting in the chair, and he probably at that time weighed 100 pounds soaking wet. But I was horrified when I saw him because, as you see the notes there, he wasn't fond of people playing jazz. Fortunately, when I played jazz in Michigan State, I was on string bass, so he didn't mind so much. And he didn't like people being late. And here I was, I'd done overtime on the other side of the camp, and I arrived probably about 5 minutes late for this low brass clinic. So first of all, then he wanted nice, careful, precise playing, and I just played a lot. And I was trying to do the pooch. As soon as I saw him, oh my God, I have to play. So we pulled up, and then Don Flickinger was the director of the band, sir, and he said Mr. Falcone wanted to introduce you. Well, he introduced me, and he proceeded to tell everyone all the faults I had as a student. When Martin came to me, he heard and his attack, and he said, it's very imprecise, and he said he's very exuberant, poopy, pop the attack. So this went on for a while, and and actually what it afforded me that was the time to kind of regain some composure, or at least hope of composure. So they say, but now I'm sure you won't hear that anymore. He's a fine professional. He's playing, so his stamina is good, and his sound will be perfect, and the attack will be very precise. So, it did go okay, but and during the presentation, what Roger's doing now, talking about the lessons and doing the clinic, he insisted on sitting right. This is scaring me because it looks like an overweight, rambunctious Falcone right here. So Martin, everybody does a Mr. Falcone impression. But he would talk to me now. I was talking about, somebody asked about getting the slurs to play very cleanly and not getting that little bump, and about the tolerance of the valves and how he slide over these slurs so they sound smooth. And he said, Martin, don't forget to tell him about it. He would be like this, feeding me. So it's essentially he did the clinic and I just repeated what he said. But it made me look really good. So that was that, and we all have our stories, and we won't go a long one, but a couple of, we all clean things at the house. I remember going over in fall, and he said, oh, Martin, I'll pay you something like $3 or $4 an hour. He says, you do some work. So he said, the rakes are out in the garage, and just go ahead. So I went to the garage, and I turned around, and there's one leaf in the yard over there. And he said, oh yes, we had Tom Reinbold just did that 2 days ago. So then he said, well, you can clean the windows. The windows need cleaning up, so you have Windex and paper towels and this. So I go up to the second floor, and you could eat off the windows, of course. They're gleaming more than a new diamond ring. I mean, and I painted the bedroom and part of the bathroom, and then he said, okay, well that's fine. We have some boxes to move, and I said, so I'd move a box of records from here to over there. He said, let's have some spaghetti. Okay. so, I mean, this was, every student has a story. And what it tells you, of course, is the humanness of this wonderful man. And it always came at a time I don't know how he knew it, but I was penniless and down, and it's just, by the time I got in trouble because they found me, I skipped theory in class and most of my other classes. They find me asleep against my tuba in a practice room. They closed the music building at 10 p.m. And I would sneak down there and hide, and then pretty soon the custodians know me, I'd stay, and they'd find me at 3 o'clock in the morning asleep against my tuba. But you felt like you needed to honor Mr. Falcone and be prepared, So I remember one other story about it. I came to a lesson. He said, well, Martin, are you prepared? and it was, I think, number 6 of the Arbon Characteristic Studies. And I had hours and hours and hours, and I felt I played it from memory. He says, I think, whatever it was, the first characteristic study, I think it was, in B flat, not the new encore version of C. But he said, oh, you're prepared. Let's play this in A flat major, please. And he said, blah, 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 blah. You know, the excuse we get from our students when they're not prepared. He said, oh, I thought you were prepared. You know. So I literally tried to learn all the characteristic studies in every key. I just tried to do that. You felt like doing these things was just the way you should do things. 2 other quick stories. One is his nickname was the Bird. And we all were fond of that because he had kind of motion, especially conducting the marching band, where he kind of, this kind of thing, you know. So he was very small. And so one time I came back from marching band, because he conducted that too, and the same, it didn't matter if you're marching band, the same musical precision. So one time I tried to blow in my sousaphone and nothing came out, and no sound. And he's looking down and says, Martin, what are you doing? You know, and I mean, there's a 300-piece band or 200-piece band now, and he notices I'm struggling with something. He says, I can't get my horn to place. Well, find out what it is. So I took the bell off, and there was a dead bird in the tuba. I don't know where they were stored and how it happened. And I don't even think I want to know. But so we took it out and says, did you find the phone? I said, there's a dead bird in my tuba. The band is going, you know, because, yeah, so anyway. So then, yeah, you know, I want to tell you that the Reverie that Roger played, written by Bill Wiedrich. Bill Wiedrich was Roger's roommate at Michigan State for some time. Now he's an exceptionally fine orchestra conductor at University of South Florida. So we have a tie-in because Bill and Roger played for my wedding. It was my recession was Roger playing Anchors Away. So we have a history. By the way, I might have been responsible for the Tasmanian Devil remark, but I know I'm responsible because Roger could be Roger, and his son here, he knows, and we all know. At one time I had a bumper sticker made up that said, the world is your china shop. I did want to mention a couple other things, just 2 other things quickly, because we have a more important person to hear in a second here. The Falcone Festival is in our 30th year this year. I'm so proud to be adjudicating chairman. I imagine a bunch of you here are part of that. And you can just look around the service bands and you'll see how many people came out of that Falcone Festival, and I was proud to have a recital each year by them. I also want to introduce, I think, a couple of our, anybody here that played in the Falcone Festival a couple times? I think we have a few, yeah. You'll recognize a couple of our L's in the audience. We got Doug and Jane Goodrich over here, a couple of the Falcone L's, so I just want to say hi to them. Also, you should know that Roger was integral part of starting and getting that festival going, keeping it going, and setting the standards. Standards by Dr. Falcone, and that's Roger. And the final thing I would like to say is recognize a truly great player. When I came to the Navy band, I played a lot of great players, including Brian. When Roger came over from the U.S. Coast Guard band at that time, he said, I don't want this presentation to be about me. But I heard we started our Navy band Tuba-Euphonium Quartet, which is the first one in the history of our group. And the second one, I think, in military bands behind maybe the Coast Guard group. And Roger was always precise. I mean, we didn't like to have him drive in town. We let him drive on the road to the gigs. And then when we got in the city limits, John, you drive now because we don't want to kill anybody. But his passion for his teacher, his passion and love for his family, and for the art and the euphonium was always and will be an inspiration to me, and to hear him play every day on stage. So can we just recognize that for a minute, please, Roger?